The notice requirements provided in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given in the new schedule of meetings of the Spotswood Borough Council on December 27, 2019. The new schedule was transmitted to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel. It was filed with the clerk of the Borough of Spotswood and posted in the municipal building located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey.
Councilman Ritchie? Councilman Rivera?
Here.
Councilman Malillo?
Here.
Councilman Spacuzzo?
Here.
Council President Kramer?
Here.
Mayor Sealy?
Here.
Okay, I guess we'll start off with the engineer's report.
Thank you. The DOT funding, again, I didn't reattach the information from last week, but when you decide how you want to do this, just let us know which roads you'd like to do, and then we'll give a proposal to move that forward. The cottage streets, as you know, the contractors pulled off the job. We did a review of the project this morning, actually. All but two of the trees are cut down, and those are trees that the contractor themselves are going to take out. And we noticed that some of the pavement out there is kind of unraveling a little bit, so we're going to see if the contractor get them to bring a sweeper out or in some manner clean up the neighborhood where that has occurred. It's only temporary pavement, but still it's causing a little problem for folks. We also contacted JCPL and Verizon and to get a schedule for them moving forward. Verizon's been in touch with us by email today, so we'll keep on top of that also. Moving down to the improvements to Brunswick Avenue and the Karen Street drainage improvements, we scheduled a pre-construction meeting for that for March 5th. Mr. Sachs, any more movement on the easements?
Yeah, just for the council's edification, I've got about half of the easements done. In fact, another homeowner stopped in prior to tonight's meeting to sign the easement. The other ones, I think at this point, I'm just going to have to file. I'm going to send one letter threatening condemnation, and if I don't get a response, then I'll have to file the actual, we'll file a declaration of taking for those other properties.
Adirondack Avenue, we're working on that design. I have 2 pages attached to my report, if you'd be kind enough to flip to the first one. And this is the intersection of Burlington and Adirondack, and I'm sure you're familiar with the little jog that occurs there. But if you look in the lower right-hand corner, you see there's a little shaded triangle. Right now, the pavement is actually on the property of that property owner. So the first sketch is if we move the curb line and blend into where it is on Burlington Avenue, we wouldn't need an acquisition, but just a temporary construction easement to go on the property to remove the pavement that's there and have it topsoiled and seeded to create lawn there along with the rest of the landscaping they have. On the second page, it's basically a similar area, but you can see if the curb was to match the existing pavement, how it would just slightly encroach upon the neighbor's property. And if you would like the larger radius there, there would have to be a right-of-way easement acquired. The rest of the intersections we looked at, and I don't believe we will need to do anything there. We can work around them or match what's out there now, and those do not appear to have encroachments. This is the only location. I think either of the scenarios works. It's just what you would prefer to do.
Bruce, which one is closer to what's there now? The second
one
page?
on the second page replicates what is there now.
Okay.
And the one on the first page of the pair shows if we altered the radius, how we would eliminate that conflict. And if you would note the little dotted line, we're contemplating putting that in at the center line to help guide people through this jog. You see it at other intersections now. It's a more frequent dash, but it just kind of guides people to navigate that. So I just wanted to present that to you. see if you could make a decision either way, and then we would have the necessary documents prepared, whether it was just a sketch for a right of entry essentially, or temporary construction easement that would be, expire upon completion of the work, or whether you want to keep the radius the way it is and just acquire a bit of property there for the right-of-way in order to enable that to be there properly.
Bruce, do you see if we change it to the first and shorten that radius up, could that be an issue with landscape trailers or boat trailers or anything like that, because it is a tighter radius?
I question myself. We didn't put auto turn on it, but if you look at some of the other radiuses here, they're certainly smaller. And the average corner going down the block is smaller. This is a very wide intersection. Can I tell you that it wouldn't cause a problem? Maybe if a very large truck was coming through, it would, but they have a lot of room to navigate and jack it to get through there. I don't know how frequently that occurs. I can tell you I've never seen it.
I'm not saying tractor trailer. I'm saying, like, I know, because I live right there, so I know there's a lot of landscape trailers coming through, or
Yep.
residents with boats and items like that, campers.
Just looking at it, I think it's the largest radius of the four at the corner. If you just look at the other corners and see,
Right.
it's, and it's the large radius in the backdrop. If you look at the top of the page to the left and the right, that's the right-of-way line. You look at the sidewalk and you can kind of see the curb line, and those are tighter radiuses in there. So I can't say that it wouldn't, of course, but it's pretty wide and it tapers. The pavement also tapers into Burlington as you go along there.
Right.
So,
All right, thank you.
And then my last item would be the DeVoe Lake dredging. At the last meeting, I brought you the drawings that gave you a couple options in terms of the area to dredge and with different depths. In order to move forward, we'll need direction on that at some point.
Anybody else have questions for Bruce?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we're going to pull this one. So we're going to pull ordinance 2020-2 because there's some questions that need to be answered first. Resolutions under consent agenda. Copies of the resolutions under consent agenda are available for perusal only on the table. Anyone desiring a copy may contact the clerk after the meeting. Resolution 2020-46 was carried over from February 3rd, 2020 consent agenda. 2020-46, the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey intends to file an application to the New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Finance Program, Water Bank through the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, NJDEP, and the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, and authorize Dawn McDonald, BA, to act as the authorized representative to represent in all matters relating to the project undertaken pursuant to the above referenced New Jersey Infrastructure Financing Program / Water Bank. 2020-47, the resolution authorizing the cancellation of property taxes on property owned by the Borough of Spotswood. 2020-48, the governing body of the Borough of Spotswood have personally reviewed as a minimum the annual report of audit and specifically the sections of the annual audit entitled General Comments and Recommendations. 2020-49, the CFO and construction official recommend the adjustment for Vivint Solar, Inc. in the amount of $191 for an unused permit located at 6 Kensington Avenue. 2020-50, a resolution authorizing the Borough of Spotswood to enter into a cooperative pricing agreement. 2020-51, payment of bills. 2020-52, pay estimate of $126 47880 is approved for Joe Med for the work performed for a project known as Cottage Streets Area Infrastructure Improvements. 2020-53, Borough Council approves the list of wrecker licenses for the year 2020. Any discussion?
I have nothing.
Open it to the public.
Second it.
Okay, we open,
Yeah,
No, you don't have no discussion.
no discussion?
no discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wait.
No, it's,
We're
we
open.
didn't have discussion, it's open to the public. No, you're good.
Okay. I thought it was new rules tonight. I got to say again with this 2020-46, putting Dawn McDonald on something, especially in light of the newest events that have occurred with her, it is just, I don't know what else to do at this point. I mean, we've yelled from the rafters, we've said everything we needed to say with respect to her, and we're going to put her on a project where in potentially 10 months, she's not going to be here anyway. And then who's going to take over the project then?
Well, I'll
Or-
tell you, I'm going to a meeting. As you can see, I'm going to the iBank training meeting to try to find out how to do this. So I don't know who's going to take it over, but we can't afford to lose the project and lose the money to rebuild the water station. That's our main goal, is to get that started, the money to fund it, and to do it. And that's the reason Dawn McDonald was put back on it, because it's got to be done. If we don't do it, we lose it.
Well, we put her on for other things around town, and it wound up costing us money.
I understand it, but this, she has no access to money. All she does is sign some papers and get the ball rolling, and the iBank does their thing and does their investigation and gives us the money to rebuild the pumping station.
And who's going to be responsible when she screws it up?
Who's going to be responsible? She is.
That was good. That was good, Larry. Jackie Palmer, 9 Shupin Street. So I think we've asked this 100 times. What you're saying to us is that there is no one else that is qualified to have any connection with this but her?
At this point in time, yes.
So what are the responsibilities and requirements for this role?
I'm going to go to school to find that out. I
Well,
don't know.
see, no, that's herein lies the problem. Is that we continuously hand over roles and responsibilities that we are unclear as a municipality and a governing body as to what it is that someone is actually supposed to do. What are the roles and responsibilities and requirements of this particular role that only Dawn McDonald has the qualifications for, is what I'm asking.
And I told you, I don't know.
So we don't know.
I don't know.
But we asked that question last meeting to go and find out who else can do this and what the qualifications of this is. I do not believe for 1 second that she is the only person. And I'm going to tell you what this says to everybody in this room. There is not one intention of this governing body to protect any other employee in this borough but Dawn McDonald. And I get it that you guys are going to say, oh, wait and see. Wait and see. I waited and saw. You know what I saw today? I saw paper over the windows of the administration office in which Dawn McDonald sits in, as yet another intimidation tactic to the poor woman who sits up in the office upstairs. So I guess that's okay too. And it was okay to bring her back to work and make her sit in a room 5 feet away from someone who harassed her. That's okay, right? So we're just going to keep this on. You know what? Fantastic. I think that's fabulous. What I could tell you is we should start paying attention to the employees that have longevity here, not the one whose days are numbered in the borough. At a minimum, she's gone at the end of this year. And I think that she should be gone. She should have been gone the end of last year, quite frankly. But Clearly, nobody wants to do that. So yet, let's just give her something else because no one answers the question and we have no idea what this job is to do. That's fantastic. We have a lot of confidence in that now.
Diane Charlesworth, 29 Old Stage Road. Larry, not 5 minutes ago, you said all that she would be required to do is sign some papers. Nobody else in this building knows how to sign papers? Come on. Come on. Born in the morning, but not this morning.
Try to give you information and you ram it up my nose, so I won't say anything now.
Well, I'm not ramming it up your nose. You're ramming it down our
I'm
throats.
not. I'm trying to tell you what we're trying to do, and you don't want to hear it. You just want what you want.
I'm a woman.
I'm a man.
I want what I want. Larry, come on, that's such an insult to our intelligence.
not.
You said
I tried to
all
give you
she needs to
information.
do is sign some papers. Pat, can you sign papers?
Yes,
Okay.
but not on this.
I'll come and sign the papers. I know how to sign papers.
You hear what she said, though? You only heard what you wanted to hear.
She said not on this. I heard that.
Okay.
Okay, so what is the qualification that Dawn has that Pat doesn't have regarding signing papers?
I don't have that information. I only-
Okay, can we do this? Can we put this off for another meeting?
We probably could, but we'll end up losing our shot at the iBank. They don't keep that money forever.
Can somebody do it on a acting basis rather than Dawn?
I have no idea. I'm trying to find out
Okay.
what has to be done to be able to do it.
Might be able to.
That's why I'm attending this training program.
When is that?
It's on February 28th,
My mom's birthday.
1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll be there.
Okay, so the 28th is 10 days away. There's not anybody who could step in for 10 days and just kind of coast with this?
If I knew what it entailed, I'd be able to tell you, but I don't. I won't know until I go there.
Thanks.
Gary Wallace, 277 Brunswick Avenue. My question is, how come she's not here to explain what she can only do it and nobody else can do? Can I ask that question? And can she do it? You're saying she can do, she's the only one. How do we know she can do it?
Because she did it for the cottage streets that they're doing now.
So you should know what she can do.
I don't know what she did to get that stuff done. I don't.
Mary Kate McDonald, 177 Kenneth Court. You have a very capable CFO upstairs, who's very capable, even though he is only a part-timer. Couldn't he oversee this until you find out what the requirements are?
I don't know, Mr. Mayor, can he oversee that?
He can oversee anything I ask him to, but the business administrator is a business administrator. What is the exact reason? By the way, someone asked a question earlier and said, I believe it was you, Mrs. Marco. Well, I might be wrong, but her staying on the project, worried about that? That's not how this works with any bank project. If, let's say, when you had asked before about if she starts another project, she's here to the end of the project. I believe that was a statement you had made? Right, well, either way, end of the year, whatever, end of the week, whatever. When the person does this, somebody else would have to step in, because obviously if you start the process, you're not going to stop it if something, God forbid, happens to that person. Because right now she's a business
Exactly.
administrator. How much more work do you want to take away from this woman?
Everything. I mean, really, Joe is very competent. I can't understand why he could not oversee this project.
Well, maybe Joe don't want to. I'd have to ask him.
I'm sure Joe would be very happy to.
Be so sure of that.
Right.
I didn't write it.
Mary Lynn Israel Zemensky Drive. I have a question for the 2020-47. So we own the house on Main Street, right? We cancel the taxes, right? So when we're going to knock down this house, it's ugly.
There's no plan.
So what we're going to do if we own it and then you still have for sale sign, knock it down. At least to put it on hold, knock it down. It's ugly. On Main Street, it's ugly. Take the for sale sign down.
Yeah, I'm working on that as well. I can't tell you the exact date the house is coming down, but it'll be down before this summer.
Colin Ronco, Manalapan Road, I do have one other comment here. Isn't Dawn on vacation next week?
Yes, ma'am.
So if the project, you said to the 28th,
Yeah.
and Dawn's on vacation all of next week, I'm assuming she's not going to be signing anything in the next couple of days. So putting this on hold for one more meeting really isn't going to make that big of a difference. And as far as 48 goes, I'm sorry, 47, do we have any idea what we're doing with that property yet?
Not yet.
Not this moment.
So we bought a piece of property that we're no longer getting $12,000 on. We have to get some kind of a variance permit, something or another, for a 5x10 piece of property in the back of it that has wetlands on it. We have a house that has no floor, and now if, God forbid, somebody gets hurt, we're responsible. Is that correct? Yes, no, maybe, I don't know.
If we own it, we're obviously responsible if someone gets hurt.
My point.
Okay? We
So
own an awful lot of property in the borough of Spotswood.
we don't own one with a 200-year-old house that doesn't have a floor in it that's been falling apart for 20
It's
years.
time to get it down.
Well, maybe we should have thought about that before we decided to do this. God only knows. Larry, how long is it going to take to get this wetland thing going?
Probably just in a matter of a few months. I mean, as I indicated last time,
Actually, no.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
yeah, as I indicated last time, it's a very small section of wetlands. The engineer who has been engaged, the environmental engineer, has indicated that he will be able to receive a letter of no interest. So a few weeks, few months, it certainly is not going to impact anything involving this property. The property can be demolished at this point. Certainly, that's the expectation. And it's a house that is not habitable and doesn't have a floor, then that's probably what should be done.
And is there any RFP currently going out to get somebody to come in and demolish that house?
Engineering firm is handling that.
Perfect.
Central State.
No.
I'm sorry, Larry, Jackie Palmer. One more question. So we're using New Jersey iBank, is that it? So I did a quick Google search on it. There are some seminars that we can take starting in March. And, it seems to me that it's open to just about anybody. So I'll do a little bit more research on it, and I will, as I would suggest to the rest of you also, it's njib.gov is the actual website. So you could do a little bit more research maybe before the next time that we come and say we don't know what's happening.
Steve, I'd like to know, and this question was asked you last time, how come she's not here now?
I understand that her daughter went for some oral surgery and she took the day off to be with her.
How convenient. Was that planned or was that not planned? I mean,
I'm not her boss, so I don't know.
well, I mean, again, she's not here. Her responsibilities is to be here. How come you keep on excusing her from coming here?
She had a medical procedure. What? So what?
Keep on. That's not one time. Keep on.
You know what? People have sick days. They can do what they like.
No, the thing was you excused her
Can't
from
do what
coming
they
here.
like. I'm done talking.
You've excused her from coming here.
Okay, so I've excused her from coming here.
Why?
The past.
That's her job responsibilities to be here.
Because nobody needs this much abuse.
This is abuse? Really? This is abuse? Then why doesn't she quit and why don't you fire her?
I'm not.
And why don't you
10
leave
more
office?
10 more months.
10 more months, so you have no clue on getting rid of her. You're just going to keep
I
her.
have no clue on resigning.
Well, I think you should be taken away in handcuffs, but that's my opinion. I mean, this is a travesty of what you're doing. I mean, you have no plan on this building. You can care less what anybody says about Dawn McDonald. Wasn't there a News 12 article or video last night on her?
Okay?
So we're just going to keep on letting her harass people
Give everything.
and bully people and, well, how many lawsuits do we have right now?
I don't believe this is under the agenda right now.
No, it's not, and we have to stop talking about that until the next meeting, please.
All right, that's fine. I'll come right back to you.
Okay.
I'm not going nowhere.
Neither am I.
Anyone else from the public? Make a motion to close the public portion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Before we start the next one, I have a question. Sure. Somebody needs a,
Oh, it's probably from the case for the camera.
okay. Call to order. We'll salute the flag. We'll have a moment of silence. And I'd like to say a prayer. Give me 1 second. Let me research it. Okay, we'd like to say have a moment of silence for Clearwater resident Ann Bradley. She recently passed away, was an animal advocate for cats in Clearwater. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Ritchie? Councilman Rivera?
Here.
Councilman Malillo?
Here.
Councilman Spacuzzo?
Here.
Council President Kramer?
here.
Mayor Sealy?
Here.
We have pulled off ordinance 2020-2 until next meeting. We have the resolutions under consent agenda, and I'll take a vote to adopt the resolutions under consent agenda. Resolutions 2020-46 through 2020-53.
Hey, Pat, you got the caucus minutes and the regular minutes?
We had minutes to do. You want to do them after?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, okay. We have the minutes from the last meeting, February 3rd caucus meeting.
Make a motion to accept the caucus meeting for 2003, excuse me, February 3rd, 2020.
Second?
Second.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Council President Kramer, I'm sorry. Councilman Spacuzzo.
Abstain?
Okay, we have the regular minutes for February 3rd, 2020.
Make a motion to accept regular minutes, February 3rd, 2020.
Second it. Sorry, I'm daydreaming.
Councilman Rivera,
Yes.
Councilman Malillo,
Yes.
Councilman Spacuzzo,
Abstain?
Council President Kramer.
Yes.
Okay, now we can do the resolutions under consent agenda. Resolution 2020-46 through 2020-53.
On 2020-46, I request that the council, Larry Sachs, check everything over that she does to make sure that there's nothing being done incorrectly until we find someone or some way to replace her.
So we're pulling it off, pulling it from vote.
Not pulling it.
No, I don't think you want to pull it, because I don't think you want to jeopardize
Jeopardize
the
the
ability for those funds to be available. However, Council President asked me if I would, and I'm sure the council would probably support this as well, if I would review anything that comes in connection with this, and before Dawn McDonald pushes a button, she's got my blessing to do so, and I will do that.
I agree with that.
Okay, so we're going to pass 2020-46 with stipulations at the present time.
Yes.
And
We gotta do that separately?
Yeah, why don't we vote on that separately, and then you can take the other ones as a block.
Okay.
Okay, Council President, you have a vote on 46?
Yes.
Make a motion to pass 2020-46?
Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we'll do resolutions under consent agenda, resolutions 2020-47 through 2020-53.
Make a motion to pass resolutions 2020-47 through 2020-53?
Second it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, and all reports from liaisons and department heads. And John, you got anything?
Do you have anything, John?
No, I have nothing.
Okay.
Charlie?
I just wanted to inform everybody about the Education Foundation in Spotswood is holding their annual casino night, February 29th at the Helmetta, in Helmetta at their center over there. It's a great time, and we invite everybody to come out. If anybody needs any information, I have a flyer here and I can get you more. And that's, like I said, February 29th.
Jose, you got anything?
Yes, Spotswood Fire Department is doing their comedy show on March 21st, 6 o'clock, it's $50. It's a great time, so if you guys want to come out, again, it's March 21st. Firehouse? At the Firehouse. Phone number's there, it's 732-251-3460, extension 7. Just leave your name and number, and I'll get back to you guys.
I have a couple of things from and about the police department. Chief got a letter, says the purpose of this letter is to compliment one of your patrolmen, Patrolman Rachinsky. On December 23rd, 2019, 6:30 p.m., my husband and I and our grandchildren were traveling from Spotswood toward Jamesburg on Main Street. My husband saw that a car traveling on the opposite side of the road was drifting into our lane. He quickly moved over to the right, enough to avoid a head-on, but not enough to escape damage to the whole driver's side of our car, including a flat tire. The other driver just took off. I called 911 and Patrolman Rachinsky responded very quickly. After making sure we were not hurt, he stopped traffic so that we could pull into the municipal lot. He was kind, professional, and helpful, making a very scary experience a little easier. We moved to New Jersey 2 years ago, and it is very reassuring to know that the fine police departments are serving these communities. Sincerely, Eva Turk, 6888 Nassau Road in Monroe Township. The other one is the Spotswood Police Department each year holds events geared toward giving back to the community, whether that be through fundraising, tours, events, or meets and greets. We strive to involve the community as much as possible to bring everyone together for a purpose. This year, the Spotswood PD, in conjunction with Spotswood resident Marilyn Israel, will hold a walk on April 18th, 2020, in order to raise awareness for CDH. CDH stands for Congenital Diaphragmatic, thank you, hernia, which is a birth defect that occurs during fetal development, causing a hole in an infant's diaphragm, somebody. This ultimately allows the organs to crowd the abdomen, leaving limited room for the lungs to grow. About 1,600 babies are born with CDH every year in the U.S., but only 800 survive. Marilyn wanted to host this fundraiser for her 7-month-old grandson, Asher. Asher was diagnosed with CDH during a 20-week ultrasound. Then, after 5 long months in the NICU, he was able to return home with his parents, Gonzalo and Jennifer. Asher is certainly a warrior and a blessing to their family. This is a scary condition and relatively unknown. However, Asher is home and currently doing well. Become CDH strong and help raise awareness with Marilyn, Asher, and the Spotswood PD on April 18th, 2020. We will walk from the Immaculate Conception lot in Spotswood to the Maple Street Pavilion in Helmetta. There will be refreshments and food. And there is a link to donate if you choose. I have it here. And that's all I have. All right. So we'll open the public to the meeting.
Make a motion open to the public?
Meeting to the public.
You're doing good today, aren't you?
I'm batting 1,000. I may as well just keep going.
You're fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Not yelling, don't worry about that. Gary Wallace, Brunswick Avenue. We're talking about the house that we just bought. What about the 2 houses that are on Summerhill? They're falling apart too. The one right next to the Artie's, we used to be Artie's.
The auto.
The auto.
Yeah, that one, and
At the end
there's
of
2
Adirondack
after that.
right
There's
there.
2 after that, and they're boarded up, but that's an eyesore, or Snow Hill, I should say. I'm sorry. Snow Hill. Yeah, Snow Hill.
The one with the tarp on the roof?
Yeah. Well, the tarp fell off, kind of like it eroded after 10 years, I think, or 15 years. You know. But I mean, it's boarded up. Everything's boarded up. That house and 2 houses away from it, I believe. So
that's on the corner of Adirondack. And
Go to the end of Adirondack and make a left.
Yeah, there's 2 houses. There's
right there on the right-hand
The
side.
one's for sale, I know, but the other 2 are boarded up, and I don't think they can be sold. But
A house
that's
that's
enough.
right connected with that building, with the garage?
I don't think it's connected. I think, because I saw the gentleman that bought Art's Auto Body, and I think he wanted to purchase that home and it wasn't available or something. So I don't think it's attached to it.
I've been here for 43 years, but
It was
looks
originally
garbage.
Art's house.
Yeah, I think, or whatever.
Yeah, so
Because
maybe it was different owners.
father-in-law was friendly.
But it's just boarded up, and it's gonna fall apart. It's falling apart worse than another one.
Mr. Mayor, can we have somebody look into that and maybe get in touch with the owner? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Moriarty, live at 69 Michael Road, Spotswood, all my life, 62 years. I have a few questions about the PSC&G work and their subcontractors. I spoke with Bruce on the phone. Thank you for your help. You know, they're doing a lot of asphalt cutting, a lot of slurry. They use water to keep the dust down, which is silicate, crystalline silicate. That's also a disease for lung cancer. I did most of my cleanup in front of my house. I've asked if they could get a collection sweeper, something either to pick the slurry up. Now, it was the Thursday before Super Bowl Sunday. They left a good 3-4 inches of slurry right along my driveway, the whole roadway along the curb. The 6 guys from PSE&G, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, all standing by the truck by a broken sweeper that was across the street, just a sweeper that pushes the dust to the side. He said they would wait for it to dry up and then sweep it. So I had to go away to Virginia to a funeral. I came back Sunday morning and partially dried up. A lot of slurry still along the curb. So I got my shovel out, probably one of the few people in Spotswood that sweeps the street in front of my house all the time. I did collect buckets of slurry just from along the curb. You can't get it all out of the street. So I did ask a policeman, and he was good about it down by Shonley School, and he sent the guy over with the broken sweeper that didn't hold water. So he started sweeping, but again, creating so much dust that the neighbors all came out and started totally freaking out. My fault. So I asked the guy, pull in the driveway, I'll fill up your tanks as quick as they're leaking. I don't know how good, it's going to hold the water. He did sweep, created a big mess. I have 2 brand new vehicles in the driveway, over $100,000 in vehicles in the driveway, brand new. The driveway was all resealed, loaded with the slurry. The car mats, I feel like I'm complaining. I never complain in Spotswood. I never come up, I try to do things in Spotswood to help people all the time. It doesn't seem like somebody's looking over the job. Like, I'm retired from heavy construction, 34 years. I've done all pipe work. I've done everything. I've been general foreman, supervisor. I've had crews of 70-some people at one time. Somebody isn't overlooking PSE&G. They're subcontractors. Somebody isn't looking over them either. I've taken pictures. I'm not the type that's going to start showing you pictures, but I have samples of the silicate. It's a lung silicate. I see a lot of people in here who's walking their kids home from school, their wives. These kids, especially today with the detours and the cars flying down the road, that dust is tremendous. Again, I have pictures, I have videos of the kids walking through this stuff. I always protected my men with this stuff. In fact, the guy that came to sweep that day, he was a young kid. I ran down the basement. I got him some good 3M masks to wear because the sweeper wasn't working right. I'm just asking that somebody looks over them and makes sure that it's cleaned up, that silicate is cleaned up. It's very dangerous. I don't know if any of you here even know about silicate, but it's bad. And in 5 to 10 years, if you're prolonged breathing this in, you could get lung cancer.
Yeah.
They got to get a better sweeper, something, and get that slurry up, get the dry dust up.
Was that sweeper ours?
No, but again, I'm thinking, why doesn't Spotswood, if they can't get to it, PSE&G, or their men can't get to it, I know they're overloaded with work, why can't our sweepers come and take care of our residents? Like,
Talk to Rob and have a look at that.
I'm almost ready to pay for it. If the guy would do it, I'd pay for it myself.
No, you don't have to do that.
We have a good sweeper.
In the meantime, though, I'd like you to get all the contractors that handle this and see if they can clean this mess up a lot better.
I did 2 minutes after we spoke. It was Friday, January 31st, and at 3:25 p.m. you called me just moments before that. As we hung up, I sent this text to Kelly Sutter, who's the person. I said, I received several calls regarding the slurry mess left on Michael Road in Spotswood from the pavement saw cutting. I'm told there is a street sweeper there, but it's not being used. Can you clean up that road and any others they disturbed as soon as possible? Bruce. She's the person that we deal directly with, and she got back to me and said, I reached out to supervisor, everyone is gone from that job for the night, but they are out there tomorrow and will clean it up. I'm being told they did try to sweep, but everything was wet and made worse. So I did follow up immediately, but I'm not in town all the time. I did talk to Rob from Public Works, and I forwarded that message to him as well, because he and his guys are circulating all the time. If they see a problem and they want to either reach out to them or call me to reach out with them, I'll be happy to do that, but I'm just not here. In the future, I've checked with PSE&G, and they will reimburse the borough for any costs incurred, like for professional fees and stuff. So the next time they come in, I think that's something we figure out whether Public Works charges against it to monitor them or whatever, but
Is that road still a mess?
It's okay to back charge. My company, we got back charged many times if we couldn't get to it by the end of the day. They would send someone out, and our company had to pay for it. The road is still full of dust. I mean, I swept what I could in front of my house, but the neighbors, you know, and it's cars tracking this stuff in. Like, when that's a slurry, you're driving through that. So you're pulling in your driveway. I got home from Virginia Sunday morning, had guests over for Super Bowl Sunday. Everybody's parking in that stuff and then walking through the house, you know, take their shoes off, but it's a mess. It really
I'll
is.
talk to Rob, because being in construction, you know, and so do I, because I work on sweepers, they work well with water. In fact, that's what they use to pick up all the mess. So
They need a collection sweeper, you're right.
get our sweeper over there, see if we can clean this up.
And, you know, it's not just for me, it's for these kids walking. I know somebody here that has a daughter, and I saw his wife actually slip in that slurry. And now I see the little girl walking home with their mom, and today the dust, because nobody stops for these stop signs when there's a detour. And it's local. You got Leonard Park over there, flying right through all stop signs, got videos today. I don't want to feel like the old guy complaining, but it was crazy today. It was like whirlwinds of dust and that silicate blowing around. And I saw all the kids walking home through that today from school. I'm aware of it, so I just wanted to let everybody here aware of it. You know, I don't want to take any more time, but letting you know where I stand here.
I'll get Rob on.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good evening, everyone. Colleen Ronco, Manalapan Road. The Municipal Drug Alliance is going to be collecting the Easter toys again this year for the kids at St. Peter's Hospital. So there'll be a bin here at the municipal building. There will be a bin at the gun store, and then, or they can be dropped off at my house or Dawn Crandall's house. We need all of the supplies by April 1st. We're going to be putting a flyer up on the We Are Spotswood page and on the Municipal Alliance page as well.
Colleen, last year asked for specific items. Are
Yeah,
we doing the same thing?
Yeah, basically, I'll list it out on the
Okay.
flyer again, so it'll say we still have some stuff that was left over from last year, so if we have too much of that, I don't want to put chalk down again if we already have 7,000 things of chalk. But yeah, we'll put it on the flyer, so it'll be listed there. Let me put that down. There was an animal abuse case a couple of weeks ago. I don't know how many people know about it here in Spotswood. That was the first animal abuse case that the new Hilo had to encounter. Officer Drude went out to that case along with Officer Fedak and Officer Taylor. I want to say Monmouth all the time. Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office also came down to handle that case. I have to tell you, the three officers were absolutely beyond excellent. I deal with these officers all the time on a daily basis, and they couldn't have been any more professional in what they were doing, even when the owners of the animal were so upset. They de-escalated that situation. Everything was done exactly as the law was supposed to be written and exactly as it was supposed to be done. So I just have to commend Officer Fedak, Officer Drude, who's the Hilo officer, and Officer Taylor for the job that they did out there. It was absolutely fantastic. Why are planning board members not listed on the website? Do we have any idea as to why that is?
No, I didn't know they weren't.
Oh, we can put them on there, though.
Yeah, if we could, because there's nothing, I mean, you have to go through the minutes in order to be able to find out who the planning board members are. So I just thought maybe we could update the website and put that on there. I do have a question, it's probably for the attorney. How many meetings, consecutive meetings, do you have to miss of any, whether it's town council or the planning board, before,
As a council person?
or as a planning board member?
Usually, well, most planning boards do have their own rules and regulations, and it would probably be contained in there.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
And I don't know if the Spotswood Planning Board has that in its, first of all, I don't even know if they have rules and regulations. They may or may not, because some towns do, some towns don't. But usually there is some language in there. But certainly if there's habitual absences, that's something that, the chairman of the board could address.
Okay. I do have one other question. Financial disclosure statements, when do those have to be in by?
I think it's April 30th?
Yes.
Yeah, April 30th.
April 30th. Are we aware that we have numerous individuals that never did their 2019 or 2018? This year would be 2019. 2018.
Yeah, that I don't know, Colin.
Yeah, there's numerous people that did not submit financial disclosure statements. So when you go and you look them up, they're not there. There's a fine for that as well, and the town should be making sure that every individual that's supposed to be doing a financial disclosure statement should put one in. My biggest concern was we have a financial disclosure statement where the individual did not list his family members on there that work for the borough, did not list the house that he owns here in the borough, and did not list the fact that his wife is part ownership in his business on the financial disclosure statement, and that's gone back for almost 8 years, because I went back all the way to 2014. So, Mayor Sealy, you lied on your financial disclosure statement. I got nothing else.
Thanks for bringing it to my attention.
Hi, how are you? It's John. It was Perfacci. I'm here about the Heritage Project in Spotswood again. I was here last week. We had some discussions. It's been a year and a half, and I still can't get the project off the ground. Ed, I was going to ask you, are we still asking to see if we can get water from East Brunswick in any capacity for this project, or is that off the table? It's kind of been bouncing around, and I haven't gotten an answer on that for maybe up to a year.
Answer?
Yes.
Yes.
We did have a meeting with East Brunswick. We've had preliminary discussions with them, and we are waiting for them to get back to us.
Okay. Do we have any time frame on that at all?
They didn't give a specific time frame. We met with folks at the water utility, and they had to go and approach, I presume, the governing body or the administration. So
that's been going back for over a year. I mean, we were talking with the prior attorney too on this matter.
This was very recent, and this was a new round of conversations.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Do you have his contact information?
Hello, Dulcie Branco Rivera, 46 Harbour Ave. Last year, I asked several times about possibly moving the planning board meetings. I've never heard anything about it. Was that ever discussed? Shut down? Not discussed?
It was discussed, and I will answer this because I was the council president, and I know you asked plenty of times, but I was told that they weren't interested in changing the dates or the days of that meeting because it doesn't interfere that many times with a council meeting.
Because they cancel all the time.
Well, I can't help that. I just given you.
So it doesn't interfere because they cancel all the time, so it's okay. All right, fine. So can we also have them, when they post their agenda, since I can't attend those meetings because I go to the school board meetings instead, when they post their agenda, they don't post any documentation. And the agendas are very vague. It says, something on lot 42, block 3, whatever. So can we just put in the additional stuff so that at least I can read and figure out what the hell they're doing?
I can answer that, and I can answer it because I represent a number of planning and zoning boards. Those agendas that you see, and I've seen the one in Spotswood, is similar to every other agenda in every other town. The documentation isn't created until after an application is approved, and then a resolution is prepared by the attorney, for adoption at a later meeting.
Well, we can put the application then, something, so that I know what's going on. So the house down the street from me put in for a variance for a fence. No problem with the fence. It looks lovely. But I didn't even know that was there, that they were doing it, until the fence showed up.
Do you live within 200 feet?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay,
Which
because
is-
and the reason I ask that is if you live within 200
I would
feet,
have
you'll
to
get
get
a
notice,
notice, right?
and that's fine, but it's up the street from my house. My entire block is one freaking block long. If they wanted to do something else that would have been an eyesore on my street, I would have liked to know. They didn't. It's all good. But to look at an agenda for a planning board, it's going to say, variance on block 42, lot 3. I don't know what block I'm on.
Yeah, well, listen, that's, maybe it's incumbent then upon the secretary of the board to be a little bit more descriptive in the agenda as to
Something.
what's happening. But by the way, your lament is, if you live 201 feet from the property line, you're not getting a notice, and that's a common lament
Oh, yeah,
throughout
I
the
know.
state of New Jersey.
Because, I could have yelled at you for that thing in East Brunswick, because I truly was 201 feet from there. But that's another story. So if something, because since they don't want to change, which is wrong, I think, for the township, because we should be able to go to all the meetings to see what's going on and understand what's going on, then I think that it's incumbent upon them to put more descriptions so that if something is happening in town that I want to know about, what if, like, around the street from me, they want to, put up a gigantic flag that's, 20 feet long? I'm going to want to know, At which point, I will not go to the board meeting and I'll come here instead, but I won't know. Okay?
Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, I can give a call to Mr. Keneally, who's the board attorney, and ask him if perhaps they can be somewhat more descriptive on the agendas that are published for the planning,
I think that'd be a good idea.
All right, I can do that.
Thank you. Next, so I was driving down Main Street and I caught wind of some signs on houses that look kind of like decrepit on Main, that they've been taken over by the bank. They're, the do not enter signs are up on the wall. So they're up there. Houses don't look good, which of course reminded me of the other thing I asked for, which was a committee to start looking at property that may be available, that maybe we can start redeveloping and inviting people in to do something with the town and get some businesses in here. There is a lot of houses on Main Street that A, look crappy, B, are foreclosed on or about to be foreclosed on, that maybe if there was a redevelopment committee who can identify where these places are and maybe start making a plan to improve Main Street and get businesses in here and start generating some money for the town. It's also incumbent upon you guys to figure out where all these things are, because you know what? I see this house, it looks pretty crappy, and I could just see the banks don't care about these properties. They've got so many properties that they've foreclosed on. They take it, they pop the sign on the door, and they don't go back for 6 years. So 5-6 years from now, we're going to be looking at this small beige house, and it's going to look like that ugly brown house that we've now just overpaid for to knock down to try to do something, although we don't know what we're going to do. But this is what's going to, is that what's going to happen again? So, can we be proactive? Listen, I love all you guys, okay, you know that. But for years, I've been coming to these meetings, and the council and the administration and everybody in this borough has always been very reactionary, always. And I think it's time that we become proactive. We need to start looking ahead. Did you know there's another business up for sale? Yeah, so that's 3 major businesses in town, all up for sale. And, I would be surprised if anybody has gone to talk to these people to find out why. Maybe they just want to retire and go away, which is fine. Maybe there's something going on in town that they don't want to stay. I think it's incumbent upon you guys to figure out what the problem is and why they want to go.
Would you like to be on that redevelopment committee?
I will certainly be on the committee. I do not want to chair it. Hell no. Charlie wants to chair it, though.
No.
He does. No, him and I have spoken, and he wants to, so it's okay. So you put him on there. But please, can we let's start doing stuff before other things happen. I don't want to buy another house 5 years from now. Okay? I'd like to be in Florida. My husband says we're not going. So you know what? Then you're going to have to fix this place up. Okay? Thank you.
It's on the record now, you're
It ain't happening.
Diane Charlesworth, 29 Old Stage Road. Do we have any information or more information about the hot patch machine?
Once we get the budget, we haven't gotten the budget yet.
Oh, any anticipation on when that will happen?
It's supposed to be sometime, I believe, next week?
March 4th is our budget workshop, correct?
Right.
March 4th is the budget workshop. I believe all of the councilmen will have the budget in their hands Friday.
Okay.
yeah.
And so then we'll have it hopefully in time to fix all the bad potholes in front of 29 Old Stage Road?
Well, there's a big project going on for Old Stage Road right now.
Yeah, down at the other end.
Well, I thought it was
Looking from Brunswick
from Brunswick all the way
all the way to
down,
Cleveland.
all the way to Cleveland.
Okay, that includes me.
Except 29?
No.
What was that address again?
Never mind. Okay, so,
We're working on it.
all right, good, thanks.
All right.
I do have one other quick thing. I saw on Facebook today that there was somebody who has, looks like a mother cat and 4 kittens in her backyard. If I can get those animals trapped, would Spotswood be willing to pay for those spay and neuters out of the animal trust account so that we don't have a overabundance of kittens that I'm going to be running all over after?
Isn't that what the trust account is for?
It's supposed to be,
The
yes.
funds are in there, I don't have an issue with that, Colleen.
And it would be relatively cheap because I'm going to ask Lorraine Healy from Husky House if we can do it through her. If we can do it through her, it's like $25 a cat.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that, I can't speak for the rest of the council, but that's
Okay, all
fine.
right, so I'll speak with her and then I'll let you guys know. I'll send you guys an email.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Jackie Palmer. Bruce, you had said earlier that you just made a comment in passing that council knew that the contractor pulled out on the cottage streets. Is that what you said, or did I not hear it correctly? Can you expand?
You heard me correctly, yes. He did not walk off the job, he shut down for the winter.
Okay. All right, thank you for clarifying
I
that.
apologize if the language was a little bit.
I wrote a note, I was like,
confusing.
contractor pulled out, and then we just paid
We speak with
him.
him every couple of days about it. He's starting to submit shop drawings for the drainage system. So we are in touch. He has by no means walked off the job. He just said he was going to pull off and then see what the weather was like before he came back. We've had a great winter, but my luck, as soon as he came back, we'd get the storm that we haven't had, and it would be, nobody would be happy, so.
Told you guys, I bought a snow blower a couple years
That's
ago.
the
We ain't
best
never having snow
insurance.
again.
That's right. But that is what I meant. I apologize for it not being clear.
Thank you. I have a question for the attorney. Do you have any information on, or can you enlighten me further on negligent retention?
What is it?
It's negligent retention
In what context, Jackie?
in employment law.
All right, so in other words, negligently retaining a municipal employee? First of all, that would probably be an answer that I would probably defer to Labor Council, since that's their area of expertise.
I'm just asking if you have any knowledge of it, if there's any,
Listen, there are many civil actions that can be filed anywhere in this state, and I'm sure there have been actions filed for negligent retention, negligent dismissal, on the other side.
I didn't read too many on negligent dismissal, but.
But anyway, I'm sure actions do exist for that. Wouldn't surprise me.
So can you explain so people understand what potentially in the law a negligent retention would encompass? If you don't want to, I can read it, but I figured I'd let you as the attorney.
I mean, every case turns on its facts. I mean, that's.
But there's definitely, when there's a liability, right? When there is a liability case in which there is an accusation potentially of a liability, which in this case could be negligent retention, what would that look like? What would an accusation of negligent retention look like?
Again, that's too much of a hype, that's too ambiguous, Jackie. I mean, certainly, as I said, every case turns on its facts. I understand what you're driving at, does a cause of action ever exist for negligent retention? And I'm sure it would, or it could,
Well,
and it does.
let me tell you what it is, because this is why I was asking you, but since you don't answer it. Negligent retention occurs when a party failed to remove an employee from a position of authority or responsibility after it became apparent that the employee was in fact misusing that authority or responsibility in a way that posed a danger to others. Negligent supervision is closely related, as it occurs when a party fails to reasonably monitor or control the actions of an employee. A variation of negligent retention or supervision is negligent training, which arises where the employer's training of the employee fails to prevent the employee from engaging in the acts that injure the claimant or fails to remedy a pattern of behavior which leads to an injury. Suits for negligent retention often plead negligent supervision or training as an alternate theory. I'm going to go with that fits right here in Spotswood. And we have just legitimately opened our door to any and every employee within this borough, because I've been asked that question about negligent retention. So I did a little research to find out what it was. We are setting ourselves up, and I realize we're beating a dead horse here, but we are setting ourselves up to protect a potential lawsuit that we think may come from an employee who doesn't belong here. And in that, with our blinders on focusing on that, we are forgetting that the 57 or 58 or whatever it was reported, other employees within this borough who have any contact with her that may have been negative in any way, shape, or form have the ability to file that tort. And they can. And they'd have every right. And likely, because of what's happening here, they would win. And where does that cost come from? Us. Taxpayers, ultimately. I get it. I get it. I look at you, Larry, I know right now you probably want to throttle me, and that's okay. But what I'm saying is what I just heard before, and I did the dates and the maths because I'm kind of quick with some of these things, right? So we had a meeting last Wednesday. We were told wait and see. We brought Dawn back to work on Thursday. She worked Thursday, Friday. The person who filed the complaint was out of the office those 2 days. We had a holiday on Monday, so she got paid holiday pay. Come back to work on Tuesday. She papers up her room, which I'm wondering if she has her plastic container again with her phone in it. Or whether or not that was just an intimidation tactic to make Kate uncomfortable when she came back to work, which is more likely, because I think we've all seen that that's the type of person that we're handling here. And it seems to me that since she'll be on vacation next week, and the mayor just stated that the council will have the budget at the end of the week, that the only reason we kept Dawn on in a job was so that the budget can be completed. So we forsake everybody else and anything else, and we negligently retain an employee who should not be here for your own benefit. I question that. I question that judgment call, because you put Kate in a position in which she is now still uncomfortable and has to deal with that. What do we do? What do we do? What do I do? What does the people in this town do as we watch this unfold, as we sit in our living rooms and watch News 12 do a story where we're all just like, how embarrassing. It's an embarrassment. We should not be having this kind of publicity. We should be hearing about the fabulous, gambling that we do over at the casino night, for the Education Foundation that does such a great job in this town. All of these things that are being overshadowed by this. I've said it a million times. Why? Why are we putting ourselves in this position? Why are any of you putting yourself in this position? Because it doesn't look good. And the perception, we've talked about this. Perception is everything. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It matters how it's perceived. And the perception is that none of you want to take action and protect anybody else in this borough but her.
So, name's Steve. You said that being here is going to be abuse?
It has been abusive.
So what about the person that was threatened? Is that abuse? Can she go home?
Can she go home?
Well, you don't, she doesn't have to come in.
First off, if I might, I spoke to the attorney earlier. The entire matter was investigated, okay? And there is disciplinary procedures coming very shortly. And that's all I can tell you. But I can tell you that the decision was not jointly made by me, it was made by the entire council and myself. So there's no worry about, oh, was the mayor letting her off the hook? The mayor's not letting anybody off the hook. I take it extremely seriously. I can finish. I let you finish all the time.
Well, it's my time, it's public time.
I would hope my time counts too. I mean, but I had an interview with both.
Could you speak closer into the mic?
I can do that.
Thank you.
I had an interview with all parties concerned, and in my interview I found that Kate's claims are valid, absolutely valid, and it isn't correct. And the person involved knows that as well. And they're going to be disciplined for it.
So she can make a threat to somebody and still retain her job, and then not have to come here because she might face grievances or, in your words, abuse.
Well, excuse me. She'll be here at the next meeting.
Well, why was she excused all the other times? Not including tonight.
Because I excuse her. I can do that. It's my authority.
So to let her not be confronted with grievances that the public have, which we have a right to confront her as a public employee, you took that away from us.
I don't think I took it away from you because I read it all.
Is she here?
When we were at Spotswood.
Is she here every time?
No.
Then you took it away from us. We can't air our grievances to a government employee that is being abusive, that's being a bully, that's making threats towards employees of ours.
As I said, we're taking care of the matter. We took it seriously. The entire council and myself.
What about all the other stuff that's been going on for the last couple of years? How come you haven't, on a side note, how come you haven't filled out your disclosure form correctly?
Well, I wasn't aware of that. I will check into that.
For the last 8 years you weren't aware?
Well, obviously someone didn't bring it to my attention, so it can't be that bad.
Well, not disclosing something.
You know what your disclosure's supposed to say, except you.
Either way, I will fill it out and correct it. It was a mistake. Is this about me? I mean, personal attacks? Here we go.
You're the mayor. How's that a personal attack? How is it a personal attack?
I made a mistake. Nobody makes mistakes? You don't make mistakes?
For 8 years?
8 years you make a mistake?
Seriously, 8 years you made a mistake.
Oh, my God.
No, not oh my God. Those disclosure statements are something everybody's supposed to fill out. And you
I fill it out every year.
So not filling out correctly and put it,
We need, all right, we need to stop.
so not filling it out and omitting stuff, that's lying.
It's only lying if you're hiding something.
It's enough.
Okay, thank you, you just proved my point.
Enough. You made your statement. You're getting a little abusive.
I'm not
Let's
being
stop.
abusive. I'm asking him about his
He
disclosure.
answered you,
And he didn't fill it out, so he lied on the forms.
but he's gonna correct that fact.
So he gonna correct it 8 years ago, all the way up?
I don't know if he can correct it 8 years ago, but I know he can correct it now.
Are you gonna report yourself to the government to let them know you didn't fill it out right?
Am I going to report myself? I'm
Yeah.
just going to call them and ask them for guidance, yeah.
Let them know that you didn't do it the last 8 years the right way.
Whatever.
So you're not gonna do that?
I didn't say I wasn't going to do that. You should stop putting words in my mouth.
Well, are you gonna do that? Yes or
I
no?
just said yes twice.
Okay.
Third time.
It's enough, Steve. You made your,
I'm allowed to air my grievances.
well, you aired your grievance, so let's
So,
stop.
so you're gonna stop my First Amendment right? You're gonna allow that?
I'm not stopping your first. Listen, if you got,
Yeah,
if you're
you've
gonna
only- you're right.
continue to do this, remember, you're only supposed to have 3 minutes, one
Okay,
time.
then,
One time, and I don't have.
will you throw him out of the meeting for disrupting it?
I'm telling you.
We're gonna allow him to
I'm explaining
disrupt it?
to you.
It's my time. It's my time, so then get out.
You get 3 minutes.
Excuse me. Excuse me, folks.
So we're gonna allow him to disrupt the meeting?
You get 3 minutes.
He's
to
being
make your
disorderly. Are you gonna throw him out?
So are you.
No, I'm not. This is
Yes,
my time
you
to
are.
talk.
But your 3 minutes are up, okay?
Where's the timer?
You think we can't tell time?
Not without a
3 minutes is
timer,
all
no.
you're supposed to have.
Where's the timer at?
But I'm not infringing that. I'm not trying to infringe your right to say what you got to say.
You
but
just
gotta
stopped me from
say it.
saying what I was saying to him.
Telling you the rule is what I'm telling you, Steve. Now be quiet and listen.
No,
You
I'm not
get
gonna
3
listen.
minutes.
Then show me the time.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Show me the time.
That's it. You're
Show
done.
me the time.
You're done.
Show me the time.
Your 3 minutes are up.
How do you know? Where's the time?
I know what time you started by looking at that clock right there. You've been there over 3 minutes.
Let's see on the camera
Now
if
I'm
you look at
telling
the
you,
clock.
you're done. Your
All right,
3 minutes
and
are up.
let's-
Have
all
a
right,
seat.
so what, you time everybody now.
I'm
Where's the
gonna
timer at?
Don't worry about it.
Mr. Rocco, if that's necessary, we'll do that. I don't think it's, excuse me, I don't think it's necessary because I don't think the other 30 people in this room necessarily want to be timed. Everybody is entitled to say what they want, but everyone is also entitled to show respect to other members of the public and to members of the council.
So the only time that it gets timed is with me.
No, I didn't say that. I said, in fact,
That's not what I said.
excuse me.
I tried to explain something to you. You didn't want to listen. That's why I stopped you.
Mr.
You
Rocco,
had your time.
it's not,
Disagree, and then you have somebody being disorderly and you leave him alone.
No, he wasn't being disorderly. He was stating the fact that he knows you only get 3 minutes.
And you let him be disorderly by screaming out in public.
It's not the only one.
Not the only one.
So we'll just let everybody just have a...
Sure.
Edward Smith, 395 Old Stage Road. I just want to put on a record that I sat in this meeting for years and watched people just sit in their chairs and scream out things. Not saying it's right, not saying what I just did is right, but it's allowed. And if it's going to stop, it should stop for everybody. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Time to close.
Mary Kay McDonald, 177 Kenneth Court. You know the majority of you, I all love you to pieces. But I would love to have had you one day sit upstairs and take the abuse that was offered upstairs. Thank you.
Good evening. Kevin Mead, current Fire Chief, Spotswood Fire Department. I haven't been at a few meetings in a row here, so I'm just looking for an update. If any decision was made on the property, I come in here a little bit late tonight. At 474 Main Street, I had spoke to you a few meetings ago about the need for a new firehouse, and I'm curious if anything's been done with that, if discussion, thoughts, decisions.
Well, like I said to you at one of the meetings, I know that we can get a 55% grant.
Yeah, we've been looking into grants actively.
Right. So I'm not against the firehouse going there. I just need more information. I want to, see what it's going to take, what it's going to cost, what the end result is. Because I know the other 45% will have to, I understand there's a 30-year finance that can be done.
Yeah, there's quite a few avenues and mechanisms that we could use to keep the cost down to the borough, and I'm all for that, as being a taxpayer like everybody else in here. So we continue to look at that actively. The building we're in currently, we just had another issue with the heating system over the weekend. That went out again for the millionth time. So we had to get them in there, repair that. So it's just, like I said, it's one thing after another down there, but we definitely need to move forward. And I'm recommending that you guys can, with the budget process ongoing right now, it's a good time to put something in place, at least, a decision, if the 474 Main Street is going to become the next location for the Spotswood Fire Department, and B, possibly some investigating on, which we will obviously get involved with the fire department ourselves in funding. I've talked with Jose numerous times. We've gone back and forth about we went to a couple of grant meetings in East Brunswick in January, which now the AFG grants are released, so we're working on that. Try and save money other ways for equipment and other things that we need. And that does happen sometimes, because if you remember, 10 years ago, or about 11 years ago, we got $240,000 in a FEMA grant, which was great. No payback. We got a lot of equipment for that. Would have cost the borough a lot of money. So we're actively looking, and I'm just looking for the council to be actively aware of this and aware of the situation. Time's ticking, and we need to make some decisions and move forward with this if that's the way it's going to go. And obviously 100% for it. I need anybody who wants to come down, look at the firehouse, they're welcome to come down and look at what we're living in down there, and the reasons why. Okay?
Maybe we could get together and talk about these grants and what we have to go and get them.
The issue we're having is this. We have to turn around and make some kind of a commitment of a property, so like that, they could turn around and do some architect to find out exactly how the firehouse is going to be and how much it's going to cost in order for us to turn around and go for grants.
So need a plan.
That's what we need to start thinking about.
That's why I'm trying to get a commitment from the governing body to say, okay, we're going to put a firehouse there.
That's the issue.
That's the first part of it. Then the plan starts.
We won't know until we take a look at a plan, exactly how much it's going to be and everything, so like that we can start looking for fundings and everything. Yes, we've been going to grants, different grants and everything like that, but we can't do nothing unless we have a commitment of a property and how a firehouse is going to look like, the drawings and everything, and how much it's going to cost.
So I just have a question. Who's responsible for the drawings and the plans? Is that our architect?
Well, it'll be an architect hired jointly. I mean, the town, the fire department doesn't own the building, the town owns the building.
Right.
So it would be governed by you guys. Obviously, we'd be there for advice and direction.
So we...
It'd be a joint effort.
So there's guidelines that what a firehouse has to have.
Right,
Okay?
no, understand.
So we have to abide.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
So again, we have to get an architect to figure out exactly.
So what, do we have a cost on how much that might be against the town? Just to get plans? Because is anything stopping us from dog-earing that property to get plans made, to apply for the grants? And then if we turn down a grant and don't want to use that property, just to get the ball rolling?
No, absolutely not. And actually, Mr. Mead, if you want to contact me, I have a copy of the survey that was performed on that property. That really would be the first step that you need in order to figure out what you could put on that property.
Exactly. We need to get something like that, and even if it doesn't have to be a true-to-life drawing, but something that will say what will fit, how it will fit. We're having the wetlands taken care of, and that's all being squared away also. And get the ball rolling. I mean, I'm not an architect nor an engineer, but I have connections in that department a little bit. But anyway, I can get some help with that and some questions answered and see how we can move forward with this. But the biggest thing, I think, is what Councilman Rivera said is, the governing body's got to make a commitment here. Are we going to put a firehouse at 474 Main Street, or are we not? You bought the property, and I was under the assumption that was what we were going to do with it. I've sat back and listened. I'm not trying to put you guys under the gun. If you're not going to make a decision tonight, I would seriously like you to consider very near future to make that commitment so we can get this thing rolling. This is just sitting stagnant. You've had a lot of activity from the townspeople and what we're going to do with that property.
So now, I can't speak for the other members of council, but we've spoke about this.
Yes.
And I told you that's definitely high on the list of what's going on that property, in my personal opinion.
Right.
I never told you 100% that that's what it is. But it's not, it's definitely up there for consideration.
Right. Well, I look at it this way. Needs and wants. And the fire department is a need. And then you're going to have the firehouse to do what you want with later. I understand, listen, I was rec director years ago too. Rec center would be great in this town. We talked about it years ago, and it just never came to fruition, still hasn't. We're a small town in poor America here. So reality checks in. Senior center, there's a senior center in Crescent Park, that's what it was built. A lot of people don't want to use that. For years, they used to use the high school before that was built. Okay, we all remember that, it's been here. And so now you're going to have the opportunity to basically switch buildings, put us into a new facility, upgraded, that fits all the new mandates, governing all the other stuff that there's a lot of FEMA laws and OSHA laws that go into play here when you build any of these type buildings now. But we can keep the costs down, not build the Taj Mahals that have been built. We've seen, this is looking to just build a firehouse, okay? Then you get the old firehouse. The old firehouse, if it's destroyed, you cannot build that same footprint again because it won't fit on the property because of wetland encroachment and some other stuff. So you have a large building there that can be utilized for a number of things that you're still going to own. So it might solve 2 problems or 2 requests, multi-purpose building, whatever you want to do with it. But again, as the fire chief, I'm just requesting that we try and get something clarified on this and see if we can move this forward and, get the ball rolling. Basically, the longer we wait, listen, it's inevitable, all right? Replacing old buildings, you're standing in one. I did this when I was on council here, okay? This is one of the ones we had to do because the other one fell down. So it is what it is. It has to be done. Nothing lasts forever. So.
That firehouse you have now, you can't,
There's no way to renovate now. We had an architect and an engineer in there to try and make it bigger for what we need. Doesn't fit.
I mean, the back wall in the front, make it come, the back.
Yeah, but you still don't have the room. Right now, there's no turnout, there's 6 sets of turnout gear in the engine room. The other 30 sets are in the lounge, in the vestibule, and down into the back hall. Because I don't have the room, we just don't have the room.
Can't be done.
Can't be done. We went through this. I made a report on this. I submitted it with my budget 2 years ago.
I mean, hey, you said I'm listening to you. But I mean to say, you're gonna go from there, and you're gonna do what they're gonna do with this recreation center they're talking about, and go over and get the lot, and you're gonna get that, that's gonna be the firehouse, where the lot is.
That's what I'm hoping.
Well.
What else are you gonna do with it?
I wanna see them yell.
Nobody's gonna yell.
I mean, I'm just saying,
Nobody's gonna yell.
I think you should stay where you are and fix that place up.
I would stay there in a heartbeat, but we can't, like I told you.
I can't see why not.
John, in my budget request for the past 2 years, I've submitted the reasons why. Come down and look at the building.
Things gotta be fixed. I mean, you gotta repair.
Isn't that it's gotta be fixed? There's no more room. When that firehouse was built in 1960.
You got room in the back? What do you mean? You got room.
When that firehouse was built in 1960, okay, I'll show you a picture of the trucks that fit in that building.
Back in that ladder, you back it in, and from Main Street.
How about this, John? How about you and I take a ride down and we'll talk to Kevin about this instead of...
I'll show you what I'm talking about.
We don't need to discuss this right now.
Well, wait, Danny,
Come and see it.
You brought it up.
Come and see it.
I've been in there. I know the building. I was in there. I've been in there.
Building's a building, but it's like anything else. We outgrew the other
All right.
Borough Hall. We outgrew this.
We'll sit on it for tonight, and we'll get off and
I'm
start
just trying to
running.
see if we can get this thing moved along, and I thank you for your time.
All right. We'll see what happens. Okay. All right, Chief. Here we go.
Tom Gruzbowski, 304 Brunswick Ave. I got a question that I've been always asking this one. I want to know, why did we get a ladder truck to begin with? Where's this height building that we need it for? Or was this a sweetheart deal that was planned when Kaplan built Helmetta? Is that to save Helmetta? We're responsible now for Helmetta?
Helmetta has their own fire department.
So then why do we have a ladder truck that we had to buy this ladder truck?
We have 5-story buildings.
Hold on, Larry. We have the fire chief here.
All right.
Come up.
Kevin, come on up and explain it.
You light on the match, you got a fire.
I see you 5,000 times. You ask me now?
I want public record.
Public record. You weren't at the meeting.
Come on,
It's not
don't
public
argue
record.
with that.
Okay, we've never owned a ladder before, that is correct. I've been in the fire service for almost 40 years in this town. I've been chief numerous times, as well as other multiple ranks. We bought apparatus over the years, some of which already came and went in my time in the fire service. To get to the point of the story is we are a 3-engine borough, which means any of these buildings, including this one, that are sprinkled, okay, you need a 3-engine response. Your first engine goes to the scene to fight the fire. Your second engine in has to hit the sprinkler connection. If we don't, the insurance companies most likely will give us a hard time, or the owner, and they will not pay. The third engine feeds the first engine in, okay? That's our setup. On multiple box alarms, Woodmere, Crescent Park, our senior housings, our multiple family dwellings in town, we have 3 stories. We have aerials that respond from our neighboring departments. In the last few years, they've not come. Thank God, nothing has happened, but we've had the alarm go in. For whatever reason, they didn't come. The ladder was out of service. The ladder was broken, didn't have a driver. a lot of the other towns around us are having issues with manpower, not enough manpower, and seasoned people to drive this stuff and everything else. Thank God we're not. So the bottom line became, it would be a little bit more extra cost. We needed an engine anyway. Okay, we were due for a new vehicle, new rig. So we decided to propose to have an engine built with a ladder on top, and that's basically what we did. So we built a dual-purpose piece of apparatus that'll do both. A little bit more money it costs, yes, but it'll do both. We won't have to worry about it. And I don't want to be the chief pulling up to Crescent Park or Woodmere, and I got to rescue somebody out the window and the damn aerial doesn't show up.
Well, you gotta have the ladder.
Okay? So that's the reason, one of the main reasons, there's among other bunch of reasons an aerial can be utilized for, not just rescue, and that's one of the main reasons. Okay? We have to protect everybody in this borough from fire, period. Okay? And I've seen a lot of fire in this town. It does burn. Okay? We're not bedrock where we don't burn things. Things burn in this town. And people die in fires in this town, and I've seen that too. It's not pretty. Okay? The bottom line is, we spec out what we believe we need to take care of the residents of this town, and that's why we're purchasing an aerial ladder.
All right, works for me. All right, chief.
Okay.
To a degree. You gotta have the ladder, you gotta have it. You can't even reach the roof, for God's sakes.
Anyone else from the public?
Anybody else?
Make a motion to close the public portion?
Second.
All in favor?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
March 2nd.
Say the next.
Next meeting's March 2nd.
I don't have it.
Charlie, it's all your
5
fault.
minutes? Okay. Oh, I'll give you 5 minutes next time.
Charlie.
Everybody will get